Guys, I'm going to show you the exact process that I followed to become consistently profitable in the market, because I was exactly where you were. And this is the process that took me from where I was to where I am now, right? The reason I was stuck and unprofitable wasn't because of my trading strategy or my model. It was simply because I was focused on the wrong things. I didn't have accountability, I didn't have guidance, and I didn't have the right systems in place. But fast forward now, I'm living in Bali, I have complete autonomy, I trade for a living, and I've achieved a lot of the goals that I set for myself. But right now, I want to get to that next level. I want to achieve my next goals, and I feel like I'm only 1% into my journey of who I can become. But I know that the process that got me here in the first place, from where I was to where I am now, it's going to be the exact same process that I follow that's going to get me from where I am now to where I want to be. And I'm going to show you exactly what that process is in this video. That changed everything for me, and I hope you find it very valuable. Alongside this video, I've created a free guide called the Consistency Protocol, which you can download. It's in the comments. I recommend you download it, and I recommend you have it open while you go through this video, and I think that's how you'll find this video the most valuable. Essentially, my problem was that my focus was in the wrong place. I was always focused on the outcomes. I was always focused on trying to make money and trying to get to that next payout. All this done for me was take my attention away from actually learning from price, actually learning my model, and actually being able to develop the right habits that would allow me to trade consistently as a full-time trader. Because I was trading to make money, I was always trading from an emotional state. I was always fighting my emotions. So you can imagine, every time I came into my session, I would be reactive. I couldn't follow my plan. I was impulsive. I would overtrade. I would force trades just to try and get to a payout, right? Because my goal was to make money, every time I lost, I felt like I was moving away from my goals. So I was always just in a very low emotional state. And that resulted in a lot of blown accounts, very unnecessary deep drawdown, and giving a lot of money away to the market. But at that same time as well, I realized that the way I was living in my personal life directly affected my trading as well, because outside of trading, I didn't have the right habits in place. I was unhealthy, I wasn't prioritizing myself, and I was simply just putting all my focus on trading, and I was making trading my life essentially, and I was sort of just downhill spiraling. And it wasn't until I adopted this process where I actually started to see change, because the daily process I have now ensures I'm growing in all other areas outside of my trading, but also ensures that I'm focused on the right things in trading. Because I've realized that success simply just comes from putting in the right inputs on a consistent basis. And if you're putting in the right inputs, you're going to get the outcomes that you want, right? So it wasn't until I completely submitted to this process where I started to see change. But as soon as I just submitted, that's when things changed for me. But anyways, we'll get into it, right? So I have two blueprints I follow. I have a daily blueprint and a trading blueprint. My daily blueprint is a blueprint I hit every single day outside of trading. My trading blueprint is the blueprint I follow every single time I trade. Because if you want to be a consistent trader, you have to be a consistent person outside of trading, right? The person you are outside of trading is going to be the exact person you are while you trade. But success is just a byproduct of consistently putting in the right inputs, right? But anyways, daily personal blueprint. Everyone should have a daily personal blueprint. A daily personal blueprint guarantees that you grow every single day outside of your trading. These habits get hit every single day. These habits directly improve your trading. These habits improve your frequency, improve your mental clarity, your cognitive performance. They improve your health and give you more energy, right? Early wake up. This is how you start your day with a win. When you set your alarm early, 5 a.m. or earlier, right, and you hear your alarm, you get up when you hear your alarm, and that's how you win the day. You're building discipline to go into the day, and that's building momentum, right? The next habit is the window of opportunity. This is 30 minutes after you wake up, because this is when your subconscious mind is in a receptive state. So this is the perfect opportunity to journal your goals, get clear on your vision, because that's when you can rewire your subconscious mind for success. The next is hydrate and electrolytes, because when you wake up, your brain is dehydrated. So if you're not hydrating with the right electrolytes, you're not going to have the mental performance throughout the rest of the day, and also the mental energy really. Next is physical training, physical exercise, just some form of physical exercise, cardio, weightlifting, obviously for health, for energy, for frequency. Clean whole foods. The majority of your foods should be from clean whole sources, because that's also going to impact your mental clarity massively, your cognitive performance, your ability to make decisions. Because if you're eating processed shit, and especially like the food that you eat before you trade, it's going to have a huge impact on your decision making. It's going to, processed food gives you that mental fog, it gives you, clouds your mind. Next is meditation. It's very, very important that you do some form of meditation, because that's what controls your mind. And being able to control your mind, you can control your actions, therefore you can control yourself while you're on the charts. So meditation is very important. And finally, no vices, right? Anything that lowers your frequency has to be removed. Whatever vices you have, could be using social media in the wrong way, could be junk food, binge eating, but anything that lowers your frequency has to be removed. You can see that there's more to it than just a model, right? Trading is one off the charts. The person that you are, the habits that you have, is going to really determine who you are as a trader and how well you perform and the decisions that you make, right? And you can really set yourself up to win by having that personal blueprint, right? Next is your trading blueprint. I'm not here to tell you to trade my model or tell you to buy a course, right? Because I understand that's bullshit, and there's more to it than just a trading model, right? Consistency comes from having a consistent routine that you can repeat over and over again, right? That's why every trading session I follow this blueprint, and that's my job. My only job is to execute on this blueprint. My job is not to avoid being wrong. My job is not to try and make money or try and win. My job is simply to execute this blueprint, right? Pre-session process. Everyone should have some form of pre-session process. My pre-session process consists of a meditation, sort of an alignment process where I just a journal and I just align myself to the trader that I know I need to be. Make sure that my mind is in the right place. Next is I create a game plan, right? I tell myself, this is how I'm going to engage with the market today. If the price does this, then I'm going to do this. If price does this, then I can do this. But that essentially is me being in control of price and not allowing price to control me, right? Because I'm telling myself I know what I need to see for me to get involved. Next is I follow that plan 100%, right? I follow that plan 100%. I don't deviate from my plan. I don't change my game plan, right? I just execute on that plan, right? And as I go through this process, I'm ticking off the boxes, right? Next is deep, potent focus. And this is so important, right? Because you can sit through your session, but you could sit on your phone, or you could sit scrolling the internet, or you could be doing some other shit, right? And all of your attention is just not on the charts, and all you're doing is just slowing your growth. Because I can speak from experience, because I used to just fucking sit on my phone, watch YouTube, scroll social media, and again, I could have been so much more further ahead if I was just focused and if I was just watching price. Next is journaling your thoughts and emotions. Super important, because instead of impulsively acting to thoughts and emotions, if you can develop the habit of picking up a pen, interrupting that pattern of thought, or interrupting that emotion before you act on it, that's going to prevent all of those impulsive decisions that you make. Every time you deviate from your plan, every time you revenge trade or overtrade, just pick up the pen and just write down what's going on in your mind, and it interrupts that pattern of behavior. And then you can look at it, you can look at what you wrote, and you can think, well, is that aligned with my game plan? Is that aligned with the trader I need to be, right? And finally is a post-session process. At the end of your session, you shouldn't just turn your charts off and just fuck off. You should have a process in place where you actually review your performance. You should review if you followed your plan. You should go through the trading blueprint and you should see if you can tick off all the boxes, and also set some intentions. What can I do better, right? Maybe I need to journal more. Maybe I need to improve my focus, right? Maybe I could improve my game plan in some way. But that's where the growth comes from, the reflection and the post-session process. People think trading needs to be complex. It doesn't. It needs to be simple. It needs to be repeatable. And therefore, it can be consistent. These habits are simple, they're repeatable, but they're the most highest leverageable habits you can have in your process. This process, this blueprint, was made through trial and error of years of failures, of always trying to fix my problems through learning a new strategy, of just trying to fix it, learning new education, new ICT concepts, investing in a new mentor, thinking that was going to fix me. It never did. It wasn't until I actually started following this process that I actually started seeing change, right? You can be profitable with the exact model you have now, right? You don't need a new mentor. You don't need to learn a new indicator. You just need the right inputs. You need the right blueprints. You need a personal blueprint and you need a trading blueprint. I'll go into a lot more depth on each of these habits in the free guide I've created. I definitely recommend downloading that and having a look through that. And I definitely recommend adopting these processes into your everyday trading. But guys, if you want to actually get fucking serious and work with me one-to-one, shoot me a message on Instagram. All the guys that I work with, I build out a trading blueprint. I build out a personal blueprint specific to the trading plan, specific to your personal life, and then I hold them to the highest standard. The accountability that I needed while I was going through this process, right? We have weekly check-ins, we have weekly reviews, and we're just constantly growing, man. Consistently elevating and hitting new levels. But yeah, peace.